I'm Mark, she's Jane, and we've got lab coats, which can mean only one thing: it's time for another edition of Greatest Gaming Rig, the show where we build an ultra-powerful PC and give you the chance to win it.
This week we've thrust as much as we can into our naked motherboard, ready for some full-on benchmarking.
On the board we have our two processors, a full loadout of 24 gigabytes of RAM, 3 GTX 480s in triple sly, 1 GTX 460 for PhysX, an SSD, a hard drive, a 1200 watt power supply and an 850 watt power supply, and everything at the moment is currently running at stock speed.
We've also got this rather awesome watt meter so we can see how much power the rig is pulling down when idle and under load.
So as you see here, we've got the NVIDIA control panel open, which can show you that we've got three-way slice set up. So there's 3 GTX 480s here, and we've got 1 GTX 460, which we have dedicated to PhysX here. On this one, Windows Task Manager got open just so you can see that we have all 24 cores running, which is a beautiful sight.
All right, so we'll close these down, and while we're at it, Mark would like me to point out this is a genuine copy of Windows 7. We just haven't authenticated it, right?
Yes, yeah. It's a pain because we keep changing the hardware around. If we activated it now and then went and changed it, we'd have to activate it again over and over and over. So we will activate it when
but we're not
when
cheaping out.
Yeah, we're not cheaping out, we promise.
So Cinebench, first benchmark. Tell us about it.
Yes, so this is based on Cinema 4D, which they've used to make software that they've used in loads of films for 3D effects, like Spider-Man and The Chronicles of Narnia. And what this does is run a CPU test. So there's like a scene where it runs 3,000 objects with more than 300,000 polygons, and it just completely maxes out the CPU. And yeah, it renders the entire scene. And if we run our watt meter now, you should be able to see that it's now pulling, 550 watts. And on the motherboard, we can see that the temperature of the CPUs has gone up to a toasty, well, it's nearly 38 degrees when it was rendering. So it gives you a time at the very end of the benchmark. As you can see, we've got 15.85, which is extremely fast. Slightly less than our earlier benchmark though, where we got a 16.37. And the great thing about Cinebench is it has loads of these other tools underneath. So you can see the scores of similar systems. So we've got an Intel Xeon down there, an 8-core system that got 11.69, all the way down to an i7 860, which got a mere 5. And so the next one is Heaven Benchmark.
Okay.
So what, before we run it, we should probably say that what we've done is a DirectX 11 test, and we've basically maxed everything. In fact, if you see tessellation there, if you click that, we want it on extreme tessellation. Extreme tessellation, and in fact, anti-aliasing, let's turn that up to 8 times. 8
times.
And the one above it as well, crank that up.
Yep.
To 16. There we go. And then hit run.
Run.
Yes, so now that's running, you can see our computer's hit 950, peaking 950 watts, which is a lot. It's a hell of a lot. We know that we could get it to peak more than that as well if we run even harder stuff on this, which we will do. So, but I think that's pretty impressive.
All right, so benchmark done, and we've got average frames per second about 66.4, and we've got a score of 1,674, 1674, and I'm told everything above 1,200 is pretty sweet, right?
It's very sweet, that score, very sweet.
And dipping to 18 or so frames per second at minimum, maximum is about 130 frames a second.
Basically, epic.
Epic,
right. Scores. All right, we're going to stop benchmarking now and play some games because we are GameSpot after all, and this is what we do.
Yes.
All right. So I think the first game we're going to check out is probably the game that everyone is going to ask. Yes, this PC can run Crysis. Well, the first thing we got to do is load up our frames per second meter. So if we open up the console, and then do R underscore display info.
Display info.
Space. 1. Yep, and then get rid of that.
Boom.
Okay, so you can see in the top right
crazy inverted
mouse. Crazy inverted mouse. So
I'm going to change
it. You can change it because it's
totally
crazy.
Totally going to change it.
Now, Crysis, we've got set up with absolutely everything maxed out. Nothing's on minimum at all. It's controlled to crouch.
Can't see what I'm doing. So much glare.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
When you're looking at
But
it
it
at a
looks
funny
pretty,
angle.
right?
It looks very, very pretty. I'm sure people at home can see
tell.
how pretty it looks. So we're averaging about 45 frames per second at the moment on maximum settings, which is just amazing. So there you have it, folks. It runs Crysis. Don't ask us.
Don't worry. Yeah.
This is the next game we're trying out is Batman Arkham Asylum. The reason we're trying out this game is because it has dedicated PhysX support. So what we've done in the settings for the game is, again, max out all the graphics, and we've also enabled PhysX to run on our single GTX 460, which really, really helps with the frame rate. So yeah, as you can see, it looks amazing. You've got all these lighting effects in there, and if you compare this to the console version of the game as well, there's far more kind of blur and different kind of like lighting animations in there that are just missing, particularly from the Xbox version, we've noticed. So
I see.
It looks great, and if Jane can control Batman.
I wasn't on WASD.
We
on
are
the
pros.
keys next to them.
We do play games quite often, we promise. Okay, so now we've got out of that, let's actually run the benchmark from Batman Arkham Asylum and see what kind of score we get on this system. So all this benchmark does is it runs through some of the different environments in the game, shows off some of the lighting effects. We've noticed it's actually starting to chug somewhat. This was running perfectly fine yesterday, but it is chugging, which is a little bit disappointing for the fact that we've got, again, some of the most expensive components you can buy, and a game like this is chugging slightly, particularly on the big environmental scenes. And the slime meter on the left isn't even it's not being tacked that much. Average 36 frames per second. That's not bad, actually.
No, but a minimum of 5, so yeah, there's a few hiccups in there.
There's a few hiccups in there that I'm sure we can tweak and get out of.
Okay.
But you can check out more benching over on the site, including the PC Mark Vantage results and the 3D Mark results in full detail. We'll provide all the frames per second, etc., times, graphs. We'll put graphs on there and everything. It'll be great. So you can go to tinyurl.com/GSUKPCComp, where you can enter the competition and find a link to the blog where the benchmark results will be.
Don't forget you have the chance to win this entire rig, complete with its mind-bending processing power and awesome accessory bundle.
All you have to do to win this amazing prize is tell us how much you think the rig would cost in total if you got all the parts at standard price, and as a tiebreaker, tell us in 50 words or less why you think you deserve it.
You can enter the competition over on the site and read more about the build over on the hardware blog. Just head over to tinyurl.com/GSUKPCComp to find out more. To enter, you have to be over 13 and a UK resident, and the competition is subject to our normal terms and conditions.
Time for a bit of feedback from the site. Another 110 asks,
Says, build is looking great. I was just wondering, will the added Corsair AX850 PSU affect people who have already entered?
No. No, it won't.
How not? Did you get it for free?
How not? Well, technically we did, but it won't affect people who already entered. It basically total up the cost of the parts that are on that page already. We'll take those into account. So let's just pretend that the AX850 doesn't exist, and that'll be fine. And then we'll take that as your answer.
Okay. Right, meanwhile, over on YouTube, Michael2KX5911.
That's a catchy username.
Shadowhunter Death
Yes,
Stalker
catchy,
XX says, consoles suck and I hate that. I would give anything to watch him wild rabies infected squirrels. European row exclamation mark by a group of nomadic sperm whales.
Well, thank you for that insightful look into computing, Michael. We'll be sure to avoid whale-infested oceans in the near future.
And we'll be back again next week, where we'll be getting decorative on your ass and encasing this beautiful rig in a custom-made Perspex Danger Den case. It's going to look amazing.
Till next time, happy gaming, spotters.